Hey, good morning, everyone. My name's Robbie Thigpen. You know me from the Sargassum podcast. And usually when we're here, we have a lighthearted good time, and we talk about issues with sargassum in the Greater Caribbean Basin, East Africa, the Indian Ocean, and everywhere, and all. We like to be lighthearted. Today's different. Right now, I'm in Jeffers Creek. The sun's rising, the sky's clear, the birds are singing, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. The air's sweet. It's just wonderful. It's not like that in some places today. For example, St. Vincent's. They had a volcanic eruption there. Everything's down. The crops are destroyed. Rivers are flowing with steaming mud and a lot of other things. But it's not just affecting St. Vincent. It's affecting the Grenadines, Barbados, and if the wind shifts, it's going to be affecting some other places too. And what we're going to do right now, Francisca and I are about to talk to this Stacey Alvarez from Barbados. And she's supplied us a couple of images that we're going to share with you. It's a video clip from the other morning, this same time of day, and it looks like midnight. If you can hear my voice, and you're on one of these places being affected, and you can get in touch with us. There's an email address down here below in the clip description. Write us. We want to hear your story. Today we're sharing Stacey's. Tomorrow we'll be sharing Dr. Ash's story. He's been on St. Vincent, and I think he's back in Barbados now, if I understood correctly. And we want to hear your story. And if you're there, we all got masks. But if you got to be outside and all this stuff, maybe wrap a towel around your face. Get some of that other, extra particulates in the air, so it doesn't clog up your mask and start drawing stuff in from the sides. You got to drive your car. Don't drive your car unless you absolutely have to. You get this stuff through your air filter. It's metal. It's bad. Maybe wrap something around your air filter, a towel or something to make sure it's secure. You don't need to get caught in the fan belt or a fan or anything, but you want to protect your vehicles. Just be careful out there. And let us know if you want to share your story with us. And we wish you the best, and we hope that things get better. And for now, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Stacey Alvarez of Barbados. Thank you much, and we'll see you soon.
Welcome everybody to a special edition of the Sargassum podcast. Today we're not talking about sargassum, but we're talking about the volcanic eruption in St. Vincent. And right now we have Stacey with us from Barbados, and she will tell us a bit how it is in her island, which is in the middle of the ash cloud of the volcano.
Yeah, we're facing quite a situation with the ash cloud. Thanks a lot for doing the podcast and just helping to raise awareness. I think everything counts, everything's important. At the moment, the way it is, I can't even imagine how bad it is in St. Vincent, because here we've had to have a couple of days where businesses have just had to shut down because the amount of ash that was just covering everything. There were points in time when, like 9 or 10 in the morning, into the northern parts of the island looked as if it was, the dead of night. It was you couldn't see the sun at all. Ash was blowing everywhere, and if you went outside, or like right now I'm on my patio, which I couldn't have been yesterday, it felt as if it was like someone was throwing grit in your face constantly, the levels of ash. When I went outside to see my car, well, I couldn't actually see my car. It's just like covered. Everything is covered in ash. And the challenging thing about it, it's not like dirt or dust that will disintegrate or you can really wash off easily. It turns into a kind of almost cement-like sludge when it gets wet. So at one point, people have been trying to, hose off everything they can hose off to try and clean, but that's had kind of an adverse effect where a lot of the water in our reservoirs have gone quite low from us. Everybody in the island is just trying to clean as much as they can, which at some level is actually futile. Because, for example, this morning there was another eruption at about 7:45 in St. Vincent, and we could see the haze just start. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as, over the weekend. It still seemed as if it was daylight. But, over the weekend, we've experienced these periods of darkness, and there's going to be an adverse effect on some of our agriculture for sure. Going to cover everything. So, the flip side of this is that, I always look on, the silver lining in the cloud. Next year or later on down the road, I know that the soil is going to be really enriched by these minerals. But for now, on the heels of what's been happening with COVID and the hits to the economy, it's a tough journey now for us. And I say that, and at the same time, I cringe at myself saying it, because what's happening in St. Vincent with people on the ground there, I know is 10 times worse than I can probably even begin to imagine. So it's kind of the situation here.
Yeah, you mentioned the water and the agriculture, which was, like I said, it's going to be my first question. But of course, there's also in your reservoir, there's a layer of ash settling in that. Are you noticing anything different in the drinking water or anything like that?
Luckily for us, our administration, the government was very much on target with trying to clean as far as they could with the reservoirs and ensure the reservoirs were kind of secured against any ash. I must say that people did specifically ask that problem, because we know that in St. Vincent right now, for example, I know that there's no power. There was a huge power outage, but there's no water because the sulfur has contaminated a lot of the water supplies. Again, we don't have that same problem to that extent. Luckily, we haven't had to deal with contamination of water, just low supplies, and the pressure is very low because everybody is trying desperately to clean, because again, on top of COVID, people with any allergies or respiratory issues, that's another thing that has really, really hit quite hard. Because again, this isn't like dust, it's like fine sand or fine metallic particles that are just covering everything. And even in the time I've been here speaking, I can see there's just this film, the start of dust has just started to settle on a few of the things around where I am. So it's quite a severe situation.
Yeah, one of the silly, stupid things I want to keep blurting out, is at least everybody's got masks around, but that would just be.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a horrible thing to say.
Yeah, and it has become a necessity even inside. I have some members of my family who, one member of my family is experiencing some chest pains and tightness of breath just from being inside. The combination of the dust and then the feelings of claustrophobia and wearing the mask, which is still better than the health effects, the negative health effects of dealing with the dust. So
before we just had to wear it when we were in public with other people. Now we got
and now it's become a matter of necessity. You've just got to wear it at home as well.
I can't imagine. My heart breaks for you. And,
I mean, we've experienced 2 ore beaches are now, ironically looking like the gorgeous black sand beaches of St. Vincent. A lot of ore beaches began to look like that from just the ash that's over all of the sand. And a lot of the water now is this kind of brown sludge that's been coming in because of all the ash. I've actually recently come across a photograph of the outside of the hospital, our main hospital, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and everything is just covered now. All the cars, it looks just like gray snow is covering all of the cars. And again, the people in there as patients dealing with that level of dust. They've gone up on their roof to check their gutters, and because it rained at some point after all this, the ash fell, it's like they're putting their hand in cement that's all along the gutter, and that's another issue too. Gutters are being clogged and breaking because of the weight of all of the ash and the water. So it's there's a lot of repair and recovery that we have to do.
Are people collecting rainwater to their gutters as well for their home, or is it most to run
not
off?
many people do that. Most of it tends to run off, to be quite honest. I have to say, as far as I've seen, most of it runs off.
Are you folks expecting any weather events in the near future?
Not right now. I mean, I hate to try to predict because this year of my life has been one of the most unpredictable ever.
Yeah.
So I hesitate to predict or try to predict anything. As it is, Barbados luckily has been spared a lot of the major hurricanes that have occurred. But we wouldn't even need to have a hurricane right now. Any kind of major weather system were it to come on the heels of what must be a lot of blocked drainage and clogged drainage here at the moment, would lead to, you know, flooding and
Yeah.
lead to a lot of
Well, I was
problems.
more thinking of not a horrible weather event, but rain that might help things a little bit. You know.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny medium. It rained slightly, and then for the first time in days, we could actually see the green.
A nice
like
shower.
The plants looked green as opposed to gray.
Yeah.
But you know, again, when you know, some of the ash can get washed through, but then some of it does tend to collect. But we were lucky in that today there was a bit of a sprinkle, and it's kind of washed as far as I can see. I can actually, as I said, the leaves look green as opposed to gray.
Yeah. Well, settling to dust can be a wonderful thing, you know, and that's kind of what I was thinking about when I asked that question and all.
Yeah.
And all. You know, the one thing that we, you know, we see on the news over here usually is big pictures of, you know, from a distance and all that. We don't get to hear the stories and see what's going on and see what's affecting people's lives. So we really appreciate you allowing us the opportunity to share that.
Oh, I know. I appreciate being here. I appreciate you all raising awareness, because, you know, something else that happens in Vincent, it's very close and dear to my heart, because I was born there, and, you know, friends and family and loved ones are there. But I know that they're just trying as best they can to keep going, and they really appreciate any kind of aid or assistance that anyone is sending, because there are ways to send monetary donations and there are ways to send donations of goods. And I think, you know, I've been trying to encourage people to cover all the bases in terms of donating. Please do donate to any grassroots organizations or NGOs that are on the ground. Money is going where it needs to go in manning, you know, running shelters and help getting supplies for shelters. You know, I've heard stories, my family and friends telling me about teachers who are manning the shelters, which are usually schools that have turned into shelters, you know, using their own funds and using their own money and pooling together to buy food and any equipment that they can get. You know, people left their homes in such a hurry that, you know, people don't have sanitary supplies and proper clothes, and yeah, it's really a bad situation. And, you know, there are also plenty of avenues to donate monetarily through the government, but I think, you know, if people can cover both bases, NGOs and quote unquote legit government sources, I think that really would be the best way to go. That I appreciate you moving away from the sargassum focus and shedding light on an issue that's so, you know, so cataclysmic in so many ways, but, you know, we really appreciate it. Definitely. Thank you.
Well, speaking of the sargassum and all, and the sea, actually, because this is something else I want to ask you. How close do you live to the sea?
Well, I'm in the middle of the island, which is not that far from the sea. I mean, I can't see the sea now because the horizon is so hazy, but I'm about
maybe if you're on the roof, if you were on the roof, you could see it.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. Have you been down by the ocean? Have you seen the volcanic ash settling into the ocean and all?
Yes.
Is there anything you've noticed there?
Yeah, I have. I have seen as I said, I've seen videos, but I've also seen just what was sand now just looks like black or very dark gray concrete. Underneath it, you can see sand.
But you're talking about on the beach, so I'm more interested in what's happening in the water. I'm concerned about the seagrass is what I'm concerned about. Yeah, and the mangroves too.
Exactly. The water has taken on a kind of a grayish tinge, you know, which again, I guess is just inevitable. The presence of the ash in the actual water and on the sand, it's going to happen. Again, I haven't been down there today, so I'm hoping that all of that will clear, because luckily the last couple of eruptions, the wind blew them either north or south of the island. So we escaped, you know, a major ash covering. The past 12 hours or so, it hasn't been as bad. So
now you were telling us that St. Vincent is completely off the grid right now, or
right now, as far as I know, yes. And even if you do own a generator, the amounts of ash and volcanic dust in the air is really going to have a negative effect on any kind of machinery. That's another problem. Any kind of machinery, you know, by the time. So yeah. If
you happen to get in touch with anybody, give them our WhatsApp contact information, tell them to call us, and we'll try and put them on. We'll set up an interview immediately.
I will.
And see if we can talk to them.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be an important story to tell too, if it's possible.
Yes. Yeah, because there is a sense of isolation there, obviously, and a sense of desperation from, you know, it was one thing when, you know, they didn't have the water, but then no water and no power, because you can you can collect water, but you can't store electricity in the same way.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah. Well,
it's been difficult.
well, the thing is, when when you're in a situation in a desert, I guess is what the island's pretty much been turned into, or at least part of it. Everything's dry, and you need water. You need water just for basic hygiene, let alone to drink.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then
and
they're also
it's a bad spot.
They're also dealing with COVID. They're also dealing with having sanitation issues. And I mean, I talk about our agriculture here, but we're lucky. I think I was reading some articles. I think a good 40% of the agriculture in St. Vincent has been wiped out from the eruptions here. I'll send you that documentation that I found as well. So there's major rebuilding that has to be done on so many levels. So any help that we can give is it's crucial that we just help in any way we can and help them get back on their feet.
I'm kind of without words. We usually when we do our podcast, I'm usually one teasing and cutting up and
your
laughing.
podcasts are awesome.
Oh, thank you. I like that. I think I asked pretty good questions, but usually we're very happy about that. I think what we're dealing with right now is very solemn. And all. And I just don't know what I'm without words.
Yeah.
And,
I think I learned a lot of things, like as you said, like when the ash is there, you can't run a generator. All those like little details that you told us in this short interview that you don't even think about when you just see a video or a news coverage, how it affects everybody's like daily life.
On every single level. I mean, as I say, even the level of cleaning and dusting, the only reason to try to clean is that it's worse to deal with an extended accumulation rather than just clean, knowing that it makes no sense at some level, knowing that everything's going to get filthy. Again, as I said, the respiratory issues people deal with, in terms of anyone with any kind of air conditioning, I mean, again, which is a luxury, but it can't run anyway at the moment because the effect on an air conditioning system, let alone the effect on indoor air quality from running an air conditioner with this level of, haze and volcanic ash, it can't be done.
Well,
People's engines, everyone's going to rush to get their car serviced because the few times that people did have to drive anywhere to get essential supplies, all of that air going into an engine, it's serious.
They need to be wrapping a towel around the their air filter. That might help a little bit. Like I said, I'm without words. Absolutely without words.
And I say all this in the knowledge that, again, I'm so much better off and so much luckier than what's happening now on the ground in St. Vincent. So I really do hope that you guys can talk to someone. I'll try as far as I can to share your information so you can get, again, real on the ground insight from anyone who's there.
Unlike a lot of the people that's doing news stories, we got a kind of a different obligation, I believe. Right? And we're not really obligated to do this, but something we should do. The Caribbean Basin is our backyard. And
I do appreciate that. I sense it's quite a calling with what you guys do, and I really appreciate how much you guys really enjoy what you do. So.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate this opportunity because there's always a bigger story than just the normal things that we cover. And and from when you and I were talking about my project earlier, I care about people, and I'll just for that little thing, and everybody, everybody, and if we can help in some little way with this, this is an easy thing for us to do, and we want to share people's stories, and so just put them in touch with us.
I sure will. Thanks so much, guys.
Do you have anything else you want to share with us today?
Just thanks so much for the opportunity, and just anybody out there who is going to give or contribute or donate, please do. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. Maybe I can share my LinkedIn details later on. And I have been posting about ways that people can contribute monetarily or otherwise to the situation there. And I'm also trying to give information for both NGO and governmental sources and pipelines of funding, so that all the bases can be covered. So anything you can give, any help would be really appreciated by the people of St. Vincent. I know that for a fact.
Yes, even people who can just give a little bit. If everybody just gives a few dollars, that adds up. That's really what
I always say. I always had that. Every little thing makes a difference. There's a ripple in the water, so it'll make a difference.
Excellent. Well, everyone, this has been the Sargassum podcast today, or the Volcano podcast. And all we're talking about the stuff happening, and affecting stuff happening in St. Vincent, affecting the other islands right now. We're talking to Stacey Alvarez with from Barbados, and she's a teacher and a whole bunch of other really cool things. And we've listened to her story today. And there's anything you guys could do to help, please do. And with that, we're going to sign off for now, and maybe we'll have some more stories over the next few days with this same stuff.
Thank you.